Welcome to Driveway Garage. Today I'm working on a 97 Ford F-150. If you have one, I guess you know what they look like, but it's got the Triton motor, and when I bought it, it had several small issues, and when I started researching on how to fix them, it seemed like they might all be connected. My driver's window doesn't go up and down, but I can hear it clicking down by the motor. The windshield wiper, if you use this knob, doesn't do anything, but if you push on the wash button, the wipers will come on and wash. The cruise control doesn't work. The horn doesn't honk. That lock doesn't lock and unlock, but I think that might be a separate issue, but we'll find out. What else? Oh, the speakers. A lot of guys had trouble with the radios being on when they weren't supposed to be. In my case, the volume is terrible. It only seems to work on the back speakers, and sometimes you can't hear it at all. Then as you drive it, it gets louder, but never too loud. I took this door panel off because I thought I had a blown speaker. The speaker looks just fine, and once I had the panel off, I could hear the motor clicking, or the relay, whatever it was. So I thought, well, maybe it's tied into this problem too. And the problem, it sounds like, is called a Gem, G-E-M, General Electronic Module, something like that, electro, whatever. Anyway, it controls a lot of stuff. Pretty much everything I just mentioned, probably plus some other things. So, I've already started this, and I thought, well, I should videotape it because it seems like a lot of them are lacking. So, as you can see there, I've taken out 4 screws, and they all seem the same. The one was in this hole here, which would be about where your left knee is. The other one was toward the, right above the gas pedal at the bottom, right there. And I think they're 7 millimeters. See if I can see. Yep, 7 millimeters. There's one that holds a brake pedal, or brake release. And there's one that holds the hood release. It sits right there. So far I got those 4 out. And I thought, well, maybe I better go refresh my memory so I don't break something. So I think the next thing I have to do is take off this bezel, which is right here behind the steering wheel. And I think there might be another bolt or two. So let me get my plastic trim tool, see if I can pop this off. And it looks like it should just come out of there. Maybe you'll have to, maybe I'll have to put it in drive or something to get it off of there, and it might not have to come off. So one guy didn't take it off. Let me grab my plastic trim tool and let's see. I just reached my finger in the gap that you see right here and pulled one, and that popped right out, and then this one popped right out. There must be 1 or 2 more at the top. So oh, there. That popped out. That popped out. All right. So that's all loose. So I just wonder if I can just pull that out of there. Maybe if I shift it. Let me block the wheel and put it in low. See if I can get that out of the way. I've been wanting to work on this for a few weeks, but it's been so dang cold. I say there's no way I'm doing it. But now it's supposed to get in the 50s today, and it's at least 45 right now, close to 50, so it's kind of comfortable. I'll be taking my jacket off shortly. Let me put the key in, see if we can get that to come down. Well, that worked perfect. I put it in low. Of course, you have to turn the key on. But then it just pulled straight up, so there it is. You can see the 4 prongs. 2 there, 2 over there that hold it in place. Sure enough, there's another bolt there at the top of this panel, and I'm sure, get out of there, probably gonna be another one. Well, maybe not. Let's see what else we have after I take that bolt out. It's almost ready to come out. Once I took that bolt out, this side loosened up pretty good. But there's something holding it up over here on the left side, so I'm gonna have to look some more. Maybe it has to do with this metal, but I don't think so. Anyway, let me look and then I'll figure it out and be back to you. Okay, I got it out. Now, there's 3 bolts. Come on, why you gotta do that? There's this metal piece you'll see, and there's 3 bolts there. There was an 8mm there, 8mm there, and someplace on there was another 7mm. Still didn't want to come loose, and then I looked. I think it was this one that I wasn't seeing because of the angle as that. I think it goes right in here above the brake, and once I did that, it just fell out. So that's out of the way. Now, just so you know, this is your fuse panel here. It comes right off, and right behind here is your gem module. Now, there's a nut here, and a nut here, and a bolt here, and a bolt here. This will come out of there, and there's 3 connectors on the side here. And a lot of guys said take these relays out so you have more room to work to get that out of there, because this piece doesn't come out. It doesn't look like. So yeah, you gotta get it out of the side of this hole here. I think that's how it works. We're gonna find out here, but my next project is take these 2 nuts and these 4 bolts, or 2 bolts out. Let me get this thing slid out of the way. And it looks like those might be 10s. Yep, they're not 8s, they're a little bigger. So let me get a 10, get those out of there, and we'll go from there. I just brought my socket set, wrench set I've had forever out here, just laid in the seat. And it has most everything I need. And I'm using my, what is it, a Hitachi. It's a 3/8, well, it's a small ratcheting drill, a ratcheting wrench. It'll give it some ratchet, but like an impact, I guess it's an impact, sorry. But it's not super powerful, so it works good on stuff like this for getting nuts and bolts and screws out. And you can put a 3/8 drive in there, a 1/4 inch drive, and if you have screwdriver extensions, works real good for that too. So let me get this done. Now I've got some longer sockets, but I'm just going to use this one. Now this socket won't fit on that stud when it's attached to this. So what I did is I put this on the nut inside there, and then I just barely got it on the end there, which is enough to grab it, and backed it out of there. Otherwise I would have went in my shop and grabbed a long 10mm, but this works just fine. I just remembered, because this thing wasn't loose at all. There's a bolt on the back here. Well, it actually feels like the nut there. But I thought they said there was, I thought there was a couple of bolts on the back of this. But that's just a nut for these screws. Must be something back in there because it's not coming loose. Well, let me do some more looking. I'm trying to make a video like this so it'll make it easier on somebody else. So let me see if I can figure out why that's not coming loose. Okay, I went ahead and took out these 4 fuses. I got the 2 big ones out with my fingers, but these 2 I couldn't get my finger around the side because of the side. So I grabbed my needle nose pliers here and got them pulled out. I remember when I was trying to figure out why this wouldn't come loose is there's a metal clip right there, and there's a piece of plastic that clips into it, and there's another one at the top here. So I've got to figure out how to unclip those so the fuse box will come out. And then I think once you get it loose, you got to undo those harnesses on the side, and then when you pull it out, there's some bolts on the back that hold the gem to the fuse box. So let me see if I can get these little babies to unclip. Well, I've been fighting with it, and you can see how far I got it. I got this one pried loose, and let that go back, and then this one slips out of the top, but it's such a tight fit. I even took a couple more screws out up here, hoping that this case here would come out. You know, Ford could have designed this so it was a 5-minute removal. Take out some screws, the whole thing comes down. I just don't know how to get the fuse box out of there. And it seems like you got to take the fuse box out before you take the gem module or the gem out. They have to come out together. Well, I'm going to struggle on it some more. They just don't give you any room to slide it to the side to disconnect those harnesses, so I'm just not quite sure. I'll turn the light on here so you can see better, but it's just a tight fit. Somehow or another, that's got to come out of there, down, sideways, something. If I find a trick to it, I'll let you know. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep working on it. Well, I think I'm going to take a break. I cannot get that out of there to save my life. And I've tried for 30 minutes since I last recorded. I got the 3 wiring harnesses off on the side there with a screwdriver. You push on the release tab and pried those out of there. But there's another wiring harness. See if I can get this flashlight where you can see it. There's another wiring harness attached to the back of this. I don't know if you can even see the wires there. It's not that big bundle you see, it's right underneath it. I don't know how to get that thing released. There's just not enough room. I've been trying everything to get this thing to turn further. I even took this wiring harness over here off, if you can see that. Got that out of the way. Clips down here to one and here. That gave me enough room to get this far, but I just can't get it the rest of the way, and I don't know why. I'm gonna have to go watch another video because there's gotta be a way to get enough slack to slide that out of there so you can release that tab. But I got this metal bracket in the way here. This thing doesn't come out. There's a metal frame there. I gotta go watch some more videos and then I'll come back to it. To be continued. Oh, I found out the secret. There's that wiring harness I was telling you about, and you can get this kind of flat and you can reach up behind there and you can feel the 2 10mm bolts that go from the gem to the fuse box, I guess. Actually, I think they might hold the wiring harness in. Anyway, I watched the video and he fast forwards through almost everything, which I don't like because you really can't see what they're doing. But he paused just in time. He said, once you get those bolts loose, they don't come out, they just loosen up. You can reach your hand back in there and you kind of get it on by the wires. He said there's a hole you can put your finger in. And why does this always have to go back so far? There. You kind of get your hand in by the wiring harness and you pull up on it and it'll pull it out of the fuse box, and then this will come down, and then, well, I've already got my 3 side ones done, so I think the whole thing will just come out of there then. So that would save having to undo this wiring harness over here, because if you can get that top fuse or that back wiring harness out of there, you can probably twist this enough to get these wiring harnesses off the side. I'm not sure. These weren't too bad, but taking this apart really helped me have room. So you do what you want to do, but I'm going to try get my hand up in there, make sure those bolts are loose, and then see if I can pop that harness off of there. I was ready to give up for a while because it was getting to be a real pain in the butt. It's aggravating me. Let's move forward a little bit, see if I can get that wiring harness off there. Well, I finally got that wiring harness off of there, but there's more in there. Where's my flashlight? I think there's more stuff on the back of the fuse box that has to be unplugged. I watched another video and he took this bolt out, or nut off right here behind this panel. So I loosened it up, and that gives you a little more play here supposedly. So I think I can use that to get this out of here and see what other wiring harnesses I have to unplug. What a pain in the butt. You know, they could have just put 4 bolts here and the whole thing could have dropped out instead of all this garbage. But let me see what else I can do. Well, that was it. Taking this nut off of here really helped, because you can see how much movement you get, at least a ½ inch. And that popped out of there. And this is the gem. That's what I have to replace, I guess. Now, I watched some guys who took them completely apart and cleaned them and rebuilt them, but I don't think I'm going to attempt that. But it's got 3 Phillips screws holding it on. Let me take those off. The reason I'm doing all this right now is so I can see which one I have, so I know which one to order, because I don't want to order the wrong one. Let me get this off and take a look at it. Well, she's off. You just have to kind of grab it and wiggle it back and forth, because you got all these pins here that this plugs into. Now, if yours is a 97 like mine, this should be the part number. F75B-14B205-ND. Made in Canada. I guess a lot of these trucks were made in Canada. Does it say on there where it was made? Well, it says in USA, so anyway. This is the culprit. Now, I've seen guys pry these apart. This one is a solid state. So, some of the others, the older ones, actually, this is the part I think they took apart. They pried that apart, and there's contamination inside there, but I don't think that's the case. I don't see any evidence of water. I think I just have a bad module, so that's what I'm going to assume. There are ways you can take these apart, and it's like 5 layers inside of there and different prongs on different layers, and you can clean it all up, put it back together. I don't think I'm going to even attempt that. I hope that's not the problem. You can pry these things loose, take this out, see if you have corrosion in there. Maybe I'd be smart to do that. If this is corroded, that's going to be the problem. But I think it's just bad gem module. I will pry this apart and see if I can see any evidence of burned or, corroded connections, whatever. Anyway, that was a pain, I'm telling you what. Like I said before, they could have made this so much easier. Why do they have to make it so it just barely fits up inside there? And I'm going to have to put it all back together and figure how to get the 3 harnesses clamped onto the side here. That one on, well. The other one, let's see, where is it? Oh, it's this one. That's the one. Let me take a look at this while it's apart. So it was in there like this. Alright, so this thing and this thing is where those 2 bolts go in that hold this harness on. And you can see how big that harness is. Some of these prongs are wider and longer than others. Those 2 are smaller and shorter. That one's smaller and shorter, smaller and shorter. These are all smaller and shorter. But yeah, I've seen guys take these apart and clean them, put them all back together, and fixed it. Alright, well, that's it for now. I'm going to go inside. This thing looks like it'll pry apart pretty easy. On both sides, it's got 1 prong there, 3 on this side, 4 on this side. And let's take a look at it, see what it looks like. Alright, so I got that pried off of there. It sits on there like that. I took this small screwdriver, slipped it down in here, and I just started on one end, popped it loose, worked my way around, and then this popped off. This thing is sitting down inside of there, like this, and it just lifts right out of there. So now I'm going to go over, I'm going to take pictures so I can enlarge it, and I'm going to see if I can find any evidence of damage. And my wife's home, and she does this kind of stuff for a living as far as soldering, so I'll have her look at it, see if she can find anything wrong with it, because I'm hoping it's not the other part. I'm hoping it's this part. So my wife looked that board over, and she thought it looked all right. She went to clean it with some rubbing alcohol and put it under the fan to dry. I am attempting to take this other part apart, and I used this little screwdriver and I pried it apart, and I'm dropping toothpicks in there to hold it away from these latches. I've got 5 on that side, 5, 6 on this side, and I'm going to see, oh shoot, there's another one there. I have to pry that one apart too. Then I'm going to see if I can get this top piece pried off and look inside of it, see if there's any corrosion. So the toothpicks helped release these tabs, and now I'm slowly getting it pried up. But as you can see inside of here, it's pulling some of these through and some of them not. And each one of these little prongs is poking through that plastic, so somehow you've got to slowly wiggle it up to pry it off all that plastic so you can look inside, see if there's any corrosion. Because my wife thinks there's nothing wrong with that computer board over there, but I just don't know. Well, I attempted to take this apart, but it was not coming apart. This part loosened up pretty good, but when you get down here to all of these prongs, they are inserted through that plastic. All of these, all of those, and it was just creating too much friction. And I got it up just a little bit, and I was afraid I was going to break something. So I just snapped it all back together. I'm not going to mess trying to fix this part or even look at it. Now this part, I think, is what's bad, even though my wife looked it over and she solders for a living on stuff for rockets and missiles and everything else. She thought it looked pretty good, but obviously it's not. Now this is a lot of work, putting this in and out. So what she cleaned it, then I re-cleaned it with rubbing alcohol. So it had 2 rubbing alcohol baths. Dried it really good, snapped it back together. But this is so much work that I do not want to try to put this back in and see if that helped. Maybe it would be worth 30 minutes of my time, but I'm telling you, this is a struggle getting this in and out. But these things, you can see them for $50 or $80 on eBay, all the way up to like $300. The ones that are rebuilt, they're not completely rebuilt. Supposedly, they look them over, test them, and any parts that are bad, they fix it. I have a feeling they probably get used ones out of junkyards, test them, and if they test all right, they just sell them. They probably buy them for, who knows, $20, $50, then turn around and sell them for $200 or $300. Anyway, when you go to take this off, I had mine back together and take it back apart. If you look at the alignment of those pins in there, there's one right over here that's not perfect, but you have to kind of wiggle that back and forth, back and forth. You could probably even I used a table knife to go underneath the edge here when I was trying to pry everything apart. It works good because it's not sharp. So you could put that underneath there and pry a little bit on both sides and get that off of there. Now I'm just going to do some research and try to figure out where to buy this from, because the prices are all over the place. Then again, I mean, there you can see the number. You can pause the video. I'm going to do some more research and get one ordered. I think I can have it here in a few days. And then I'll put it back together and hope it fixes all my problems. The other day I went out there and I opened the passenger door with the key because the key fob won't unlock it. And the emergency flashers came on. And I'm sure that's another problem with the gem module. So between the Driver's window doesn't work. The passenger door doesn't lock and unlock. Cruise doesn't work. Windshield wipers don't work. Horn doesn't work. Radio kind of works randomly. I think it's all because of this. Time will tell. I will make a part 2 when I get the new one and get it put in, just to see if this fixes all my problems. A lot of these have, looks like a 30-day return policy, so I guess if it doesn't work, I can return it and get my money back. I'll let you know what I end up buying, and if it works, hopefully I'll remember to do that, then I can get this truck sold, because I did buy a 2011 Toyota Tundra, and that's going to be my new delivery vehicle. Thanks for watching. I hope I haven't rambled too much, and I hope you have better luck than I did. I mean, this was a struggle getting this out of there. I'm not looking forward to it, putting it back in. Thanks again for watching. If you're not subscribed, feel free to subscribe. Like the video. It helps me out, I guess. I think I make a whole $25 a week off of Facebook right now. But, you know, it's better than a hole in the head. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day.